In this video, um, we're going to start from the very beginning of matrices. And I want you to treat this like a foundation lesson because everything we do later, like addition, subtraction, multiplication, because all of that depends on whether you actually understand what a matrix is. So I'm going to go slowly, I'm going to explain everything step by step, and I want you to follow along as if you're writing this on paper with me. Now, when we talk about matrices, the first thing we need to understand is very simple. A matrix is just like a rectangular arrangement of numbers that disarranged in rows, columns, and I want you to really slow down here and visualize that idea. So it is not just random numbers, it is structured, it has order. So let me write a simple example here, which is like this. So now when I look at this, I don't see just numbers. I see its structure like that. I see that there are two horizontal lines and I see two vertical alignments. So I start thinking step by step, like how many rows do I have? I have two rows, which is this. These are called rows. And how about the columns? So we have two columns. So as you can see, we can say that this is 2 by 2. And I want you to notice something important here. This classification is not random because it is purely based on structure, and that's something we will keep doing over and over again in this topic. And now, let's slowly move to different types of matrices. And again, I'm not going to rush this. I want you to actually visualize each one. The first thing is the row matrix. My goodness. So first we have something called row matrix right there. And when I write it, looks like this. Now, now when I look at this, I immediately notice something. There is only one row. My bad. So I say this is a row matrix, okay? Another one is called column matrix. Now let's look at this one. Okay. And again, I slow down and observe that this time I don't see horizontal spread there. I only see its vertical arrangement. So I think, okay, this is one column only. And again, I do not memorize this. I observe it. Another one is called square matrix. What does it mean? Why is it called square matrix? Actually, this one is very important, and this is how it looks like this from the first example I showed you. The sample that I showed. Okay. When I look at this, I check the rows first. It has 2 for the rows, and then two columns. So I noticed something interesting. Rows and columns are equal. Okay. And this type is very important because we will use this a lot later in determinants and inverses. Another is rectangular matrix. So now let's look another example for a rectangular matrix like this. This is 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, 7, 8, 9, 10. I forgot. So now I slow down again and analyze that I see 2 rows, but I also see the 3 columns. Okay, so they are not equal. So I conclude this is a rectangular matrix, and I want you to really understand this idea. Whenever rows and columns are not equal, it is rectangular. And now let's move on to the zero matrix. So it has something interesting there, because zero matrix is obviously look like this. Yeah. And I always tell students don't ignore this step, as this is called a zero matrix, and the reason is simple. Every single element is zero, so instead of thinking complicated thoughts, I just observe everything is zero, that's it. So let's slowly summarize what we did today. I want you to follow this like I'm reading it back to you. We learned that a matrix is a structured arrangement of numbers. My bad. Okay, forget about my drawing. So we learned that structure is based on rows and columns, and we identified different types of matrices. Okay, you can see that right there. And we learned that structure is based on rows and columns, and we identified different types of matrices. Row matrix is to 1 row, column matrix is to 1 column, square matrix is that equal rows and columns, and the rectangular matrix is where the unequal parts of rows and columns, and last but not least, zero matrix where the all elements are zero. And I want to emphasize something very important before we end this video. If you understand structure properly, everything that comes next becomes much easier. But if you rush this part, everything later becomes confusing. So always slow down at the beginning. And so this is the end of this video. In the next video, we are going to start performing actual operations on matrices, whereas the addition and subtraction, and that's where things start to become more interesting. But for now, I want you to really take your time with this lesson. Don't rush it at its segment. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in episode 2. Bye.